So everybody, thank you for joining us today. I am Gary MacDougall, and I'm going to talk to Kerry today about permaculture, and we're going to talk about saving the planet and how, and hopefully inspire other people to take those steps to help heal this planet, and maybe it inspires you to take action. So Kerry, introduce yourself. Who are you, where you're from, and where do you want to start this conversation?
Yeah, very cool. My dad was an immigrant, moved to Goulburn, Greek immigrant. In that he became a cafe owner. He had a farm, and I used to go visit the farm, and he tried everything. He had chickens at one stage, which I used to love until I got attacked. Then he had pigs, which I used to love until I got attacked. He had an orchard, had a tractor. He was called Gentleman John. Anyway, after that, he moved from Goulburn, New South Wales, to Canberra, the capital of Australia, and got into business there, of which I fell under that wing. I made a lot of people happy, designed things for them that are very personal, very precious to them. So now in my later life, I've moved to Athens, Greece. I started to see that heritage seed loss is huge. Life degradation of the natural systems, and that horrified me. So I found out about Bill Mollison and started to look at what he does, and then found his systems are sustainable. So permaculture is my baby now. I've been doing it nearly 10 years. I look at it seriously because compared to all the other agricultural models out there, including aquaponics, which is a course I've just completed, which is brilliant, I might add, but it's not fully sustainable yet. But it got me hooked.
Just before you move on to the next thing, can I just speak to something that you just brought up? It's like, we share a similarity in that we saw a problem in the environment that want to make a difference, but they don't know where to start, or they don't have time. So I want to kind of speak to those things today with you, and because I know you have the systems. You practice the systems on how to save people time, on how to heal this planet, on how to rebuild soils, how to farm or grow food without chemicals, naturally, abundantly.
So the big question for people is, how do we do it, really? They know it exists. The biggest problems that most people are facing right now are how do we go chemical free and stop our weeds and stop our pests? That's the kicker.
Yeah.
Really is. I noticed you mulch. What sort of mulch do you use?
I use two things. One, I use compost from our chickens.
Wow.
So we have chickens, we put all our veggie scraps, all our yard waste, all our waste go into the chicken coop, and then we rake it up and we hot compost it, we finish it, and then we put that down as a mulch. And I also grow cover crops in some of my garden beds, and then I chop it and I drop it on the ground and cover the ground with that.
Mate, I'm going to start the interview interviewing you now. What cover crops do you use?
Cover crops right now, I've got peas. Cover crops in the future, I've seen scientists are showing that the more diverse your cover crops, you get up to like 12 or 20 different diversity of different types of cover crops.
Yeah.
That's where they see the most growth in the soil, and that helps that soil grow.
Bottom line is mimic nature. You know it.
Yeah.
I know it. We've got to educate other people. When you're doing something, you've got to ask yourself, is this something that occurs naturally? It's a really good question. And so if it doesn't, you don't use it. So you copy things that nature does. So anyway, back to how to stop weeds. Mulching does it. By covering the ground, it does a whole lot of things, but one of the major ones is it stops weeds. And when big invasive weeds come through, the really nasty ones, and I've got this, and I'm going to start plugging some videos that I've done. So Kerry Cameraworks is my heritage seed support page. Everything I've got is there, YouTube, Facebook. On that I've got a garden bed I designed for music school in Corfu. I used mulch. They had these invasive thistle thorns. They would grow over everything. They were the protector from the edge of a forest to stop the light getting in. That was their job, like weeds have jobs. And we dug it up, and then it got through everything. So after putting down a hay mulch, very simple straw, when those would come up, I could pluck them out with 2 fingers. It wasn't a case of now having to dig down into cement type of dirt. The dirt was soft, and then I could just pull them out. And weeding became a pleasure. You go, where is a little sucker so I could pull you out? notice this, how there's no weeds to speak of here, and very small weeds here. And the ones that come up have really soft roots, so it doesn't matter even if they're thistles that come up, you can pull them out. And right next door, where there's no ahiro, no ground cover to speak of, you get these thistles coming up. Big problem. So mulching really is beneficial for holding back weeds, which is 50% or more of your gardening time. So we'd just say 50% garden time.
Yeah, I was telling you, like, I feel like I've saved like easily over 90%. Anyway, so it's kind of a joy now, whereas before I could get overwhelmed with weeds and I could never keep up.
You're turning weeds and your food scraps into chicken eggs and meat and fertilizer. Bravo.
Kerry, that's what, it's so awesome, it's so amazing when you start working with nature. It's like you can take waste and create abundance. And, I mean, that's what's not here. You still.
Yeah, still here. So out of nothing, really, out of the stuff we throw away, you're converting it, which would otherwise be called pollution, wouldn't it? An excess of anything is pollution. If you have too many eggs and you can't use them, it's pollution. So permaculture is good like that because it designs ways of using what other people have as pollution.
Yes. So here, this is what I want to get into with you, and this is like, what if people didn't practice it, but either A, they practiced it, or B, they supported people like you, or they supported people like me, who practice permaculture principles? What would this world be like?
No.
You know, so if you want to talk about how you can save the planet, how people can save the planet, or even talk about maybe like some of the projects you've worked on. I mean, those are the two things I really want to talk to you about. What are some projects you've worked on that really help people, how they help people, and what are some of the ways that you see that this can really grow?
Mate, the stuff I've worked on is insane. But let me finish two conversations. One is mulching to stop weeds. When I make a garden, and I'll put another one of those in, Kerry Cameraworks, Organisation Earth. A few days ago I built a garden there because I donated some heritage seeds from Kithera and Corfu. So I have about 30 or 40 different varieties of seed that I gave them. Okay, I'm at Organisation Earth, the garden. I have the seeds that I brought. Many different types of watermelon are in here and here, etc, etc. So the pumpkins, the watermelons, the corn and the rock melons, we're keeping them apart because they cross-pollinate, cross-breed, and these are pure strains and we want to keep them as pure as we can. So we're going to be planting sunflower, chili, rock melon, rabi, amaranth, some flowers, purple corn, some more flowers and some beans. George, who's running the garden there, an Organisation Earth, is a little bit busy, so I built him a garden using permaculture principles. Well, it's planted up. The garden's looking beautiful. It's covered from the sun. We've got the sprinkler system or the drip irrigation in line. The worm farm in place. In the previous compost, we put worms compost in here, so there's a lot of worms in there now. Come back every now and again and put some scraps in there to feed them. But combining a whole lot of systems. But once you dig, and I prefer raised beds because they're easier on your back. You don't actually tread on them because you don't want to compress your soil. You don't want to expose your soil to the sun. So you dig once. I put a pit in or a trench in, and that's water harvesting, so it became a wicking bed. I put in timber within the bed, so I just dug a hole down to create a channel for me to walk through, and then built up the sides on top of rotten wood. That's called hugelkultur. At the end of it and in the middle, I created a keyhole. Looks just like a keyhole, but it's in your garden. So you stand in one spot, you rotate around you, and you've got 4 meters, 5 meters of garden without taking a step in front of you. So That's keyhole garden design. Then I made it so it's no dig and no till, meaning that when you harvest your crop, you have a plant, and instead of ripping it out by the reeds and giving the weeds to the roots to the chickens, you chop it off, leave the roots in the ground. Then that fungus that's in there stays there. Those roots then rot and create paths for worms to come in and eat and spread the nutrient through your garden. So you chop, you take that away and you don't dig it. And then next time you want to plant something, you just move the straw, the hay aside, or whatever mulch you put on top, and then plant your seeds in that. So now you've got protection for your soil biology because it's not exposed to the sun and dying off as modern agriculture does. You're keeping the moisture in the ground, so healthy wet biology. You're keeping the temperature consistent. You're making it now a no dig, no till, raised garden bed, easy on the back, wicking bed because it water harvests, and hugelkultur bed, and the timber that creates a lot of mycelium, which then decomposes and fertilizes your garden for years, all in the one tiny bed. And you know what? It's so simple. Anybody can do it. And the mulch stops the weeds. And when they come through, they're easy to pick. So the other big problem is pests. Nature has a way of dealing with pests, because imagine you're an insect and you suddenly flying along and see fields of your favourite food. First thing you're going to do is like you go a little bit lower, and it's still there, and a little bit lower, and then you land on it and you go, this is heaven. You call your friends in, you have lots of wild sex, you multiply,